Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Lateplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from White Gold Corp. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome David D'Onofrio, CEO and Director of White Gold Corp, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol WHGOF, on the TSXv under the symbol WGO, and on the Frankfurt Exchange under the symbol 29W. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. So, wanted to give you an overview of White Gold Corp today. This is a company that was founded in 2017. It's a partnership between the Power One Capital Group, based out of Toronto, and Shawn Ryan, the notorious prospector from the Yukon. Just to give a little bit of context, Power One, we're a boutique merchant bank based in Toronto, heavily specialized in mining, exploration, and development. We've been fortunate to have worked with some of the best mining entrepreneurs and prospectors and geologists around over the last 25 years and have been involved with some really, really exceptional discoveries, which have gone on to lead to eventual go into production or buyouts from majors. And that experience, over that time, we've been able to build up a great network of resources in the industry, and we're really ultra selective now in terms of how we and what we get involved with. And one of the reasons why we're so excited about White Gold is it really checks all the boxes of what we've seen has led to success in the past, right? The mining, it's a risky business, so you want to do what you can to minimize that risk. And this particular company, it's just so exceptionally positioned, I think, from just the opportunity perspective. And as we get through to the presentation, you're going to see the work that's been done over the last couple of years. I really do believe we've cracked the code on what looks like it could be one of the Canada's sort of emerging new gold camps. So for those that don't know, White Gold Corp, we have an incredibly large portfolio of properties, nearly 1 million acres in Canada's Yukon territory. Specifically, we're in the Klondike district, which is also known as the White Gold district of that territory. And this is the area which was the host of the infamous Klondike gold rush about 125 years ago. And that gold rush is still active to today. You may see on the History Channel, Yukon Gold, etc. There has been over 20 million ounces of placer gold mined from the creeks at surface in this district. And remarkably, nobody had put a drill hole to explore for the source of this gold, for the most part, until Shawn Ryan and his team went there about 20 years ago and started to prospect. And it was difficult and it was different. And I think that explained why nobody was able to sort of vector into where this gold might be coming from. But Shawn, to his credit, he is a true data scientist, did a lot of work over a lot of time, bootstrapping it, and was able to identify mineralized systems. And from there, work with companies such as ours to go and start to be able to drill that. And within a very, very short period of time, Shawn and his team was able to make 2 major hard rock gold discoveries. One of them is currently owned by Newmont, called the Coffee Project. That's our neighbor. Very large gold deposit, which is being permitted right now. I understand at the final stages of permitting, and that's going to be phenomenal for our district. The other discovery Shawn made, which is owned by White Gold, it's called the Golden Saddle or White Gold Project. That's kind of our flagship namesake project. And we've grown that to about 2.1 million ounces of gold, just about 2 grams, primarily at surface. So that's a pretty spectacular asset. And I'll tell you, so why do we like this company so much? In terms of looking at the real potential value drivers for a company in the exploration space, what we like to look is, first of all, like who's involved. Like I mentioned, Shawn has been the most successful man in the Yukon right now, and the work that he's done and what we see in terms of the work that we've done currently, the opportunity for more discoveries, I think is exceptional. This land package is enormous, and what we envisioned when we created the company with Shawn was the opportunity to tie up an entire district. So imagine being able to go back in time and tie up a district like some of the gold fields in Nevada, Western Australia, Quebec, Ontario, Timmins, Abitibi, etc., and you could own that from the very beginning. What would that be worth? And we really think that is the opportunity that is here. And over the last 7 years, I think we've done an exceptional job of proving that opportunity is there. So number one is the size. Number two is the prospectivity. As I mentioned, we've already discovered over 2 million ounces. In addition to that, we've made several brand new high-grade gold discoveries. And in more recent years, we've discovered targets which we think will be more polymetallic, copper, molybdenum, etc. So in this day and age where we see some of these battery metals come into play, I think that's really like the Yukon is just so well endowed with all types of different minerals, and the opportunity is just endless. And we see that in our district as well. Our neighbor is Newmont on one side, as I mentioned, to the south. Our other neighbor is Western Copper and Gold. They hold, I think, if it's not the largest, one of the largest copper gold deposits owned by any junior. It's something like 20 million ounces of gold, 14 billion pounds of copper. This is true elephant country. And from our perspective, this is another valuation metric. If you're going to do something, the prize has got to be big. And we think that, this is such virgin territory. The indicators are so good. There's been so much success with the work done to date. We think the opportunity is there to, make many, many very high grade and potentially economic type discoveries. And, it's not just us that has thought that. So in this district, what we've seen in the last number of years has been a confluence of other major mining companies coming to make very significant investments. I mentioned Newmont, our neighbors to the southwestern copper. They've attracted Rio and Mitsui as partners. If you look to the north of our district, we have Hecla in there. B2 Gold's come in as a shareholder. And last but not least, certainly, is White Gold has attracted the interest of two of the best, in my view, mining companies in the world, being Agnico Eagle and Kinross. And why would they invest in a company like us? Well, I think for the reasons we've just outlined, that this is a great opportunity. And most importantly, in my view, it's in an amazing district, right? You can have all the mineral wealth in the world, but if you're not able to eventually get that to a mine or have a view to that, being mineable, it's not worth anything. This is an area where we see mines being permitted, and that's what's bringing it in. So, that investment from companies of that caliber is just such a huge validation from my perspective. And I think people that are looking for opportunities should take a lot of comfort in that. And, we're also, as a company, very fortunate to have those types of partners. They're incredible resources. We work very closely with their technical teams. And it's just been such a phenomenal pleasure to be able to work with them. So that's sort of the background of White Gold, what's involved, who's involved. And from an outsider's perspective, what makes this company so different than a lot of the other junior mining companies. In addition, I think the last thing you want to take a look at when you're evaluating an opportunity, the last box to check is what's the mineral, what's the opportunity? Well, obviously our name's White Gold. We're gold focused. We are now in what appears to be a very strong gold market. I personally think that's going to continue. That's certainly not reflected in the equity prices yet. Maybe that's the opportunity for people looking to get involved. But we're in a situation these days where you have commodities at all-time or close to all-time highs and equities at, and I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it's a great opportunity for investors, I would suppose, where the equities have not reflected that yet. But it's a perfect setup. And if you are interested in the industry, I think you want to be looking for companies with real deposits. Those are the ones that historically get re-rated first, as well as good people involved and great prospectivity. So, with my sort of 20 minutes left here, what I'd hope to cover, is not going to be everything. Unfortunately, this is, like I mentioned, a massive property. But I will touch on some of the work that we've accomplished in 2023, which is a really exciting and successful year, and what we're looking at doing in 2024, just to set the stage. This is a very exciting time of year for us. We're just finalizing our plans and looking to get out in the field in sort of the coming month or so. And, this is why we're in this business. The work we did last year has really sort of led up to some exciting new discoveries and new opportunities. So we're really, really excited about what we have. So I'll just go back sort of the slide here for 1 second. So just quickly on the right, you see that the yellow is all our properties. It starts at the north in Dawson City and goes down to the south, sort of to the casino and Newmont properties. And one other thing I want to touch on when I mentioned jurisdiction, that is so great. Obviously, lots of mining happening here. Government support is second to none. The federal territorial governments have committed to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to help support infrastructure for mining and exploration. And in our district, there's a roadway that's being upgraded to a haul grade road for that coffee project, which goes from Dawson at the top right down to the bottom. And that is just a total game changer for us. Like, we have great stuff going on all throughout our properties, but now this is literally going to be road accessible. And as you can infer, if you can drive to a mine, and as you see in any sort of camp, as they evolve, you'll have one or two mills sort of being developed, and then anything that can be hauled there, that now changes the economics of what the discovery needs to be. It doesn't need to be a couple million ounces. Basically anything you can find, if you can haul it to the mill, it's worth something. So that's where this is heading. I think all the sort of pieces of the puzzle are there. It's taken about 15 years. Markets get hot, markets get cold. There was a flurry of activity about 10 years ago. We've kept very active. We've built a tremendous amount of value. And I think in the next coming sort of years, we're going to see this all unfold and the chips are going to fall into place. And this will really emerge as one of Canada's new and most exciting gold camps. So to move on, I would say there's sort of three sort of buckets I'll group our projects into. We have our advanced projects where we have defined resources. We've done a tremendous job over the last number of years. This has gone up to 2.1 million ounces, right around 2 grams per ton. So that's an exceptional project by any standard. This project remains open in all directions. It's actually composed of 4 deposits where it's open in all directions, and there is a tremendous amount of property in between these deposits, which is very underexplored. So we think the opportunity for this to continue to grow is exceptional. The ore bodies themselves can continue to grow, but where we've been focused in the last number of years is to find new zones of mineralization in this vicinity. We've been very successful at that. We've tapped into the Ryan's Trend, which is about 2 kilometers west of our Flagship deposit. We've defined the Ryan Surprise Zone there. That's some great high-grade near-surface material. That's a 6-kilometer trend. We've really only looked at 2 targets. There's a lot more there. And then as that trend continues to the north, there's another discovery up there called the VG deposit on our QB property. That's open for exploration, and we've done some work there last year and fleshed out a really exciting target. So this has been an area where we've focused pretty much every year. We're going to continue to focus there, and this year, again, it'll be looking for new discoveries kind of in that area. We've done some high-level economic studies internally. Those could be hopefully updated for publication. From what we're seeing, it's pretty interesting, and really excited to hopefully be able to announce more details to the market. This is just a picture here of what it looks like. You see that it's so close to surface, and what's actually even remarkable at this deposit is the core of the deposit is about 1 million ounces at ultra high grade. Some people will contact us and ask, just why aren't we putting that to production right away, like some of these Australian miners? You probably could do that. Like I mentioned at the beginning, like we're thinking big. We want to see a massive resource here, really optimize the value for shareholders, which is our goal at the end of the day. I should have mentioned this maybe at the beginning. The Power One Group, along with Shawn Ryan, we're the largest shareholders of the company, and then Agnico is next, and Kinross is right up there. And we have a few other very strategic and sophisticated individuals in our company. Press coverage has looked at this company, a capital stifle, with target price is sort of $2.53 range. We're currently trading at about 30 cents. Unfortunately, suffering a bit of this downdraft of the high interest rates and a lot of the other juniors, but really sort of excited by what I'm starting to see in the market. The high quality projects are starting to perk up and get a bit of a pulse here. So we're really thinking this could be the perfect storm between getting active, getting out there, reintroducing or updating people on the story, and hopefully more investment interest coming into the sector. So, we touched on this core project. Fundamentally, I think that's a company on its own that should be worth multiples of where we are today, and that's the sort of the meat and potatoes of this company. That's what lets me sleep well at night. I know there is a real asset there. There's probably been over $100 million, probably closer to 150, maybe 200 million in today's dollars spent there. A lot of great work's been done, and this, by any stretch of the imagination, I think is a phenomenal project. And our goal is to continue to advance that, and really help reward the shareholders, for the work that's been done in there. That's the meat and potatoes part of the business, bucket number one. Bucket number two is the discovery part of the business, the grassroots exploration, and this is really, I think, the most exciting part of the business. Most people that like this industry, this is why. This is certainly, what gets us excited about this business. And this portfolio, when it was first, compiled by Shawn, it was comprised of 30 different projects, right? And probability-wise, based on the work that was done, based on what Shawn has seen has led to the successes, it really feels like he's cracked the code. And the work we've been doing over the last number of years, we feel from a probability perspective, it's a really sort of desirable position to be in. The more work you do, the more you learn. We saw what led to the big discoveries. We see what we have now, and we're at that phase where we're starting to drill these different targets. And based on the drilling that we've done over the last couple of years, it's only further validated that thesis that we've had together. And we made a number of very big discoveries. I'll touch on a couple of them. Probably the most prolific of them is on our Betty property. So this is sort of down on the southern end of our district. And if you sort of see it on this map, maybe it's a little bit small. I don't know if you can see my cursor. The property is contiguous to Newmont's Coffee Project property and also to Western Copper and Gold. As I mentioned, these are sort of really, really exceptional discoveries. The best place to make a discovery is near other gold zones. And that is why we think that this was such an ideal place to work. It really sort of passed mustard on all our technical analysis. So when we started drilling that, we were really optimistic, and we were certainly not disappointed. You sort of see this as kind of a technical slide, but it's right on that same fault system that controls the coffee deposit, and age dating of the rocks make it, or show that it's quite similar in terms of dating to that massive casino deposit. So it really had all the right hallmarks. And within the first couple of years of drilling, we were able to make an exceptional new discovery on our Betty Ford target. So there are actually 6 targets on this property. We've really only drilled 1 or 2. The Betty Ford was the first one. The first discovery hole was 3.5 grams over 50 meters from surface in the oxides. We've continued to grow that zone with similar hits of 3+ grams over 45 to 55 meters from surface. Those are world-class discovery holes. Last year, the drilling actually surprised us to the positive. Our grades got even higher. We were drilling 5 grams over 25 meters, 5 grams over 20 meters, and these are over sort of very wide intervals. In terms of step outs from the east to the west. So really excited to see that. 9 grams over 18 meters. There is a lot of gold and juice in this system. So, the next step will be to try to tap into the source of this gold and continue to expand the zone. So, great place to be. You have a mine that's getting permitted. You have all these great big companies around. We're really excited about that. And then this year, in addition to continue to flush that out, we will be turning our focus onto some of these additional unexplored targets on this property. They have a lot of the same hallmarks that led to this Betty Ford discovery. So we are really, really excited to be able to drill those type of targets. In this business, we've been in it a long time, and to have the opportunity to be the first people to ever put a drill hole into some of these targets with these types of prospectivity in the area they are in this type of a jurisdiction, you really couldn't ask for more. So we are extremely fortunate to be able to be doing that. Here's again a cross section of this porphyry system. It's big, it's deep, and it doesn't surprise us that we're sort of hitting into this type of breccia. It's a breccia system, with potential porphyry opportunities because of its proximity to that casino porphyry. These porphyries happen in clusters. So it would make a lot of sense. And that's actually really led to a very exciting copper gold target that I'll mention towards the end, which we've done we got some great results back on last year. This is, an overview of the Betty property, a little bit hard to see probably, but where you see those sort of red dots, those are the soil anomalies. It's the soil anomalies that have led to the discoveries. And as you move to the right side of that picture, or the east, you see the intensity of these soil anomalies. Very little work's been done, but you see on these fault systems how they're stacked underneath the soil anomalies. So that's kind of exactly what you want to be seeing in this area of the world, and that's what's led to the discovery. So we're pretty excited to be able to be drilling these properties in this coming season. That's going to be one focus this year. The next focus is going to be on our QV property. This is actually closer to our flagship deposit. There's about 250,000 ounces on that. And last year, our soil protocol led us to a new target on that property. It looks very similar to the Golden Saddle. That's the largest part of our deposit. And, we couldn't have asked for more. It's pretty close to, where we made the VG discovery. And we think that this one here really stacks up very nicely, and we're pretty excited to get some drills into it for the first time ever. And we think this, based on what we've seen in the past, could potentially lead to another discovery, and it would be ideally situated. It's close enough to our existing flagship deposit that it would certainly become part of the same project. So, you got to do a lot of work, and part of the challenge of having such a big project like this is, picking and choosing which ones to focus. Where we're at now is, I would call it the lower hanging fruit stage, where we've done the work, we've seen the success, and now we're able to drill it. And I think it's not wildcat drilling. It's highly calculated and substantiated thesis that we're drilling upon, and that's really how you optimize your chances of success. So another very interesting target in the best possible area that we'll be drilling this year. This is some more of just the soil grid patterns. You can go on our website. There's some great videos. I recommend you go follow it and some of our YouTube stuff, because it's really a beautiful place, great place to work. And it's actually one of the oldest mining camps in Canada, and really helped the Canadian mining industry itself develop. So a lot of history. It's been a great place to be able to work. And then I touched on this copper porphyry opportunity. And this is, not something we were initially focused on. Over the last couple of years, one of these targets has been very well known for quite a long time. It was actually discovered around the same time that the casino was discovered, but sort of making a bit of a call on some of these battery metals, wanting to see the other opportunities in our portfolio, we went back there a couple of years ago and started to do some more work. And we were able to identify two very huge targets that had a lot of the signatures of a lot of porphyry signatures, some of them similar to the casino, some of them similar to porphyries around the world. And last year in 2023, we followed that up with some geophysical work. And we were just absolutely thrilled with what that came back with. Probably hard to see it on there, but essentially the anomalies from the geophysical work lined up almost perfectly with the soil anomalies at surface. So that's exactly what you are hoping to find. We're going to definitely do some more work this year. Again, its proximity to Western Copper's casino deposit really make it a highly prospective target to go after. Obviously, notwithstanding the fact that the technical data itself came back so strong. So, I think that 2024 should be a very impactful year. Really excited to be able to announce what our program's going to look like exactly. That should be in the next couple of weeks, just working with our partners to do it. And if it's anything like the last few years, and hopefully with continued interest coming back into the sector, strong commodity prices, I think this could really be a transformative year for White Gold. Corporately, we've been it's interesting, and I would say in the last 2 months, the phone has rang more in the last 2 years. A lot of interest we're seeing. Again, we have all these different properties. There's really a number of different ways how we can look to advance them to continue to add value. the idea behind the company at the very beginning was that it would be a project generator with 30 years of grassroots targets to get through. We're 7 or 8 years through that, probably a little more if you can count the work that Shawn Ryan did before White Gold was founded. And we're at that point in time where I think we can really develop and increase the value of these properties significantly with the drill bit. And that's what we've done. That's what we continue to do. And now it's a matter of optimizing the value of the company for shareholders, whether that means selling properties one at a time or bringing in, different partners to work in different ways. Lots of good ideas tend to be entertained. But at the end of the day, again, it's going to be with the shareholders' best interest in mind, because we are fundamentally big shareholders of the company, and that's what we do at Power One. That's always been our mantra, and it's worked in the past. And I think this opportunity stacks up as good, if not better, than most of the junior mining companies that we've seen in a long time. So that is a big mouthful, but I'm glad we got through it. I could probably go on for another 30 minutes, but maybe we'll turn over to some of the questions from the audience. Where do we have here? Are you pursuing a mix of brownfield and greenfield projects? I think I kind of touched on that. The short answer is yes. I would consider our flagship deposits a brownfield project. It's not a reworked brownfield project. It's something that we've done the exploration work on and proved it up. So there's work that we've done, we could be doing right on it, but probably from our perspective, we've decided we'll get our best bang for our buck by just continuing to make grassroots discoveries near brownfield projects. So I think that's the way to look at it. And then, yes, grassroots, greenfield stuff, that's the genesis of this company. We'll be doing the work around the Betty and the QV and Peddler and Hayes porphyry targets. So a lot of exciting new greenfield opportunities on deck for this year. You mentioned you're next to Newmont. Any plans to share a mill long term? So that's the great question, and that's what we need. When's a camp a camp? Well, you need the resources in the ground. I certainly think that's been proven. I think there's a lot more to come, but you need the facilities up and running, and I think it's now we're going to finally start seeing that happen. Newmont's in the permitting process. I understand that's going quite well and advancing, so hopefully we'll see that getting up and running. Discoveries down by that area, I think would certainly make a lot of sense to be able to leverage that infrastructure. Our flagship White Gold deposit, that is be a mill as opposed to a heap leach like Newmont would have. So the ideal scenario is you have two facilities in the district, and you could pretty much any ore you find, you could truck it to one or the other. So that's the way I see this unfolding. Time will tell, but this is how the camps go, right? And we're here now just still making the discoveries at surface. Most more mature camps like Timmins, you're drilling 1,000 meters deep and making discoveries. So we're in the low-hanging fruit exploration phase, I'll call it. We're still going after the smoke. We haven't even started to go deep, right? This is all, Shawn's been exploring the Tula planter. Now that we're doing some more of this mag work, it's actually opening our eyes to, opportunities that may sort of be under cap rock, et cetera, that aren't really coming to the surface. So there's actually more opportunities than we originally thought, which is pretty exciting. And I think I got about a minute left here. Anything else? Just talk a little bit more about the majors and our partners. So, listen, as investors, I've always taken the view, you want to follow the best and the brightest. We've been fortunate to bring a couple of great strategic investors into our company. I should hope that speaks volumes. And then just also look at the amount of money and time that's being spent by other majors in the district, right? I think everyone sort of sees that jurisdictional risk is always a top priority. I think in this day and age, unfortunately, it's become even more of a complication for a lot of mining companies. Everyone sees what's going on around the world. So that just makes us even more fortunate to be able to work in this area. And that's, from my opinion, sort of why everyone's vectoring in. Okay, that's all the questions. It was really great to be able to present today. You can find a lot of stuff on our website. We are, more than happy to get on a call with anybody, anytime. Just reach out through our info@whitegold.ca. All that information's on the website. Stay tuned. Drills are going to start turning very soon, and I really feel like there's a perfect storm that's setting up here between the commodity prices, interest coming back, growing deposits, corporate interest in coming back. You see a lot of M&A starting to happen here in the market. So it's a really exciting time to be in this business, and just really grateful for what we have. And thank you so much for your interest today.